2016 Players Champion. That's Joe Lossett, now a member of Team Card Hoarder. So congratulations to him on that and for winning that Players Championship last year. Luke is going to start things off with a Hissing Quagmire. For Lossett, it is a copy of Ether Hub. He'll get an energy here in just a moment. And we'll see if he has a play to make or not. And he does not. So back over to Strasler we'll go. It's a Forest here for Luke. And now a copy of Grim Flayer. That card's still powerful.
And I think it's the card for the matchup here, though. Lossett has an answer there with Fatal Push. Strasler needs to get pressure very early on in the game, enable Delirium, and smooth out his draws.
There's a Spire. Now here's a Prophetic Prism. Now, I know everyone knows what Fatal Push does. For those of you who don't, we take a look. Destroy target creature if it has converted mana cost 2 or less. And then with Revolt, destroy that creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less. Instead, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn. Now, its implications in the standard, well, it did a nice job of killing Grimflayer there, so it'll see some play. But we expect this one to see a lot more play in modern and older formats.
Yes. With fetch lands, Revolt's a much different equation. And this card might have issues in standard because, you know, there could be enough good 5-mana creatures where this card doesn't always kill something. In Vintage and in Modern and in Legacy, the games are very fast and not a whole lot of those cards see play.
Looks like Evolving Wilds, excuse me, it's going to be a Traverse that's going to get that swamp. Evolving Wilds still on the battlefield there for Luke. For Joe, he's got an Inventor's Fair. And now, a Cultivator's Caravan. So he's got all the colors of the mana. Mana not going to be an issue with the Caravan and the Prism out there. But I think this is going to be a constant for these kind of Meta War Colossus decks or decks based on artifacts. It's going to be so easy to have the colored mana that you need.
And what, week 1, often what I'm looking at are the lands.
Okay.
I think that's a place where people subtly get a lot of advantage, and it can be easy to overlook. But Lossett's deck here, Inventor's Fair, so powerful. The Spire of Industry, an incredible mana fixer. The Ether Hub, valuable because he's trying to do this backdoor Gaunty's Ether Heart thing. He's getting a lot of mileage out of his lands right now, a lot more than Strasler.
You saw Strasler search up a waste with that Evolving Launch. You talked about that before he went down to the match. It does turn on Thought Knots here for his deck. So that waste kind of feels like if you're Joe, well, what the heck's going on here? This came out of nowhere. Now do I have to worry about cards like, I don't know, Displacer, Reality Smasher, all that stuff?
Definitely. And a waste is a very large commitment out of someone playing with Grimflayer. Colorless lands are not trivial.
Tireless Tracker going to play a Swamp. Clue on the way here for Luke Strasler. And now we head back over to Joe Lossett. Maybe we don't.
I think.
Well, maybe a little bit of miscommunication, but no, we're good.
I think Lossett may have felt there that Strasler missed the trigger, but
yeah, Joe was just wondering if he had announced it and was waiting for the token, which he was. So looks like we're all good there. Sanctum of Ugin here from Joe. Looks like he's going to make some mana through the Prism. And now Cultivator's Caravan. What the heck is this? Okay, Tezzeret. Well, let's take a look at Tezzeret the Schemer. It's up to 5. Now it's going to fall down to 3. But we got a lot to learn about this particular Planeswalker. So the minus here is target creature gets plus X minus X until end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Convenient that he does control 2 to take care of the Tireless Tracker. The plus ability, create a colorless artifact token named Ethereum Cell with tap, sacrifice artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and then the -7, you get an emblem with the beginning of combat on your turn. Target artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 5/5. So there's a lot going on with this Planeswalker.
Yep. And, you know, I think something that is overlooked in the analysis of this card, if you are playing with a lot of cheap artifacts, like Lossett is, this Planeswalker can easily just be 2 Terminates back-to-back, and then you start going on. Even things like Obnixilis, which is 5 mana, can't line up that sequence. You have to go up at least once before you can go down the second time, and then you lose your Obnixilis. Opportunity cost is huge, but Lossett got to kill a Tireless Tracker and now is going on with life. He's definitely gotten 4 mana's worth out of the card already, and he's still going.
And now he's making an Ethereum Cell. So he's got one of those. Tezzeret a home run in flavor. I'll tell you that much. 5 mana, 6 mana. That's Gonti's Ether Heart. Luke Strasler wants to take a look. We are going to as well, obviously. Whenever Gonti's Ether Heart or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you get 2 energy. And, of course, it looks like 8.
2 energy. Pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 8.
It's 8. It's 8. Messes with your eyes. Messes with your eyes.
I understand how you got to this point.
Yep.
Templating team. This is really rough. So 8. Let's call it 8.
Let's go. Pay 8 energy. Exile Gonti's Aether Heart. Take an extra turn after this one.
Oh, by the way, I totally believe that Lossett needed to get this out of the system because this looks really fun.
Yeah. Hey, his words, not mine.
I can understand the way he feels.
Yeah. He's like, I got to know before the Pro Tour because he's playing in Pro Tour Aether Revolt in Dublin in 2 weeks. He's like, I got to know if this is anything.
You're looking at Grim Flayer, Tireless Tracker, Ishkana, or what Lossett's up to?
Well, Strasler brought the Tezzeret down to 1 with an attack from Ishkana. Here's Grim Flayer and Liliana. Those cards are powerful.
When the game is about attacking and blocking,
Which I'm not sure. I'm not sure this one is.
It's possible this is going to be a game about something else.
Yeah. Top couple of cards here from Strasler. He's going to take down Liliana. Let's see what Luke wants to get back. He wants to get back Tireless Tracker. Now he'll pass the turn back over to Lossett. Lossett's untapping.
It's possible also informs the Emrakul ban. You know, we already have the you don't get the 50% of the turns experience coming in the next set already.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Very true. Lossett with another Spire of Industry. Looks like he's going to make another Ethereum cell, which means he's got a second one, which means he's going to get 2 energy. He's up to 4. It takes 8.
Oh, yeah.
To go. I don't think 8's that hard for Joe to get to.
Well, he's got a Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, and I don't know. He's got the cards that are in his deck in his hand, so it works.
Now, if he made another Ethereum cell, I believe his Tezzeret should be on 2.
Yeah, it should go up to 2.
Yeah, it should go up to 2. There we go. Yeah, it went down to 1 from the attack, and then, yeah, up to 2. Hey, this is all part of playing with new cards.
Now, the question is, does Lossett have anything good to do with an extra turn?
That is a real question.
I mean, you know, he gets to activate his Planeswalker again at the minimum, but right now doesn't have a whole lot else going on. You add Metalwork Colossus to the equation. Now we're talking.
Well, he's going to blow up the Inventor's Fair because he controls 3 artifacts. So I think we might be adding. Metalwork Colossus to the equation.
Sweet.
Yes. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, this is super easy for him to do. Is it free?
I mean, the Aether Hearts cost 6. I had to imagine it's 8 on the Prism, and then 1 more on the Cultivator's Caravan is 11.
Yeah, okay.
And he's got his Lotus Petals in play, too. He can sacrifice
sure.
if it came to it.
All right, so now he's going to sacrifice the Sanctum of Ugin to search for another Metalwork Colossus. Okay.
You mentioned before we went on the air that 10/10s are a combination with additional turns.
They are.
That's a good synergy because you know you get to attack the other time.
Yep. So now Joe's up to 6 energy because of the first Metalwork Colossus. Now he's going to go up to 8 energy. Convenient number for the Gonti's Ether Heart.
Just lethal. Just lethal.
Third Metalwork Colossus.
Just Time Walk. Yeah. Time Walk plus 10/10s.
Oh, whoa. We got to get in with the Caravan. Choo-choo.
Lossett here.
5.
Some tight operations.
Players champion for a reason.
Don't want to leave any points off the table.
Okay. Now he's going to take another turn. He said he needed to get this out of his system. I hope he does this all weekend long because this is a delight to watch. He's got a little bit of a smile. I would too. A reaffirming head nod too as Joe Lossett does win game number 1 here over Luke Strasler. Blue-Black Colossus up a game here over Black-Green Delirium. That was fun.
That was a hoot.
Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Well, you know, like everything else, it is fun the first time.
Sure.
Remains to be seen. You know?
Good in moderation.
Just putting it out there. That right there, that was fun. More of that becomes less fun. The first time Emrakul was on camera was probably fun.
I remember the first time I ever played
probably
on
pretty
camera.
fun, right?
We were talking about like, oh, is he actually going to get to cast
Not
it?
to compare it to Emrakul power level and blah blah blah. I'm just saying everything's cool the first time. Then things gotta stand up on their own 2 feet.
Fair
Whether
enough.
or not they're cool.
We'll take a look at Luke Strasler's sideboard to start. 2 Transgress the Mind, 2 Lost Legacy, 2 Reality Smasher, and a bunch of fun ofs here. Natural State, Sinister Concoction, Fatal Push to the Slaughter, Appetite for the Unnatural, Yahini's Expertise, a Kalinas, Trader again. Haven't seen that one for a while. Another copy of Ishkana, and a Green Warden of Marasa.
So I guess the Appetite for the Unnatural is fine here, as is the Natural State. The 2 copies of Transgress the Mind are fine interaction. Reality Smashers, I'm guessing a lot better in this matchup than Ishkana, just because Strasler's got to beat him down before Lossett can get it set up. So I think the Reality Smashers should come in too.
Other side of things here for Joe. 3 Negate, 3 Thought Not Seer, 3 Yahini's Expertise as well. A lot of players playing that card in their sideboard this weekend. 2 Negate, 2 Liliana the Last Hope, 2 Battle at the Bridge, a Walking Ballista, a Lost Legacy, and an Appetite for the Natural on the splash.
So I like the 1 copy of Walking Ballista and the 2 Battle at the Bridges here. It's just more interaction. You can make an argument for bringing in the Negates and the Thought Not Sires, but I think on a card-for-card level, most of what Strasler's doing is pretty innocuous and redundant. It's hard for Thought Not Seer to really break up Strasler's draw in that sense. So I probably wouldn't go with the creatures because Strasler probably has a lot of removal and is bigger on the battlefield. There's an argument for Thought Not Seer. I would not go there, but if Lossett boarded in, I wouldn't be shocked.
Those are the options there for both players. They will sideboard and shuffle up. We'll watch game number 2 here in just a moment, but let's talk about the Season 1 schedule here on the SCG Tour. The Atlanta Invitational Weekend is what kicked the whole thing off. That was won by Jacob Baugh, and that's why we've got a sweet energy token to work with here on the SCG Tour. We're here in Columbus this weekend for the Ether Revolt release weekend, and next weekend it'll be Matthias and Ryan Overturf bringing to Richmond, then regionals.
And then modern regionals, go.necessitygames.com/regionals to find the regional championship closest to you. Team constructed in Baltimore, 18th and 19th, and then Modern in Indianapolis, Modern in Dallas, Legacy in Worcester, April 8th and 9th. After that, we head to Atlanta for Standard, Standard in Louisville, Modern in Baltimore, Modern in Charlotte, and the Season 1 Invitational, June 30th through July 2nd, Modern and Standard as the invitational formats.
That one's going to be a lot of fun, that Invitational in Roanoke. I think a lot of people are going to like what we've got planned for that, but let's talk about playmats here for each Open and Classic. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Yours for free.
For all you Standard players out there.
So good.
You didn't realize?
No,
you didn't realize this?
That is so good.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of.
I hope that if anyone believes that Star City Games works with inside
We're
information,
cahoots.
I hope this playmat puts that to bed. Smuggler's Copter.
That's for Standard, for all you Standard Classic and Open
Rest
players.
in peace.
Yes, for Modern, we have Ether Vial, and for Legacy, we have Gamble.
We need to change the slide. I seriously cannot handle the first panel being the Smuggler's Copter.
Yep.
Like if it was part of it and I could brace myself, like I knew the playmats were coming,
Yep.
that'd be one thing. But the Smuggler's Copter playmat just randomly appearing on the screen, I will not be able to handle this.
That's for you. Free exclusive playmats for all of Season 1, the SCG Tour. See? It's further proof that we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we are on an island.
Yes, we are. But hey, how many times can you say you have a banned playmat?
Yeah, that's true.
Think about that. Think about that. Joe Lossett going to take a look at his opening hand. Luke Strasler as well. Looks like both these players might be happy with their 7. I swear I thought you knew. That was like the first thing I realized when they banned the card.
Oh.
It's those playmats.
Yeah, I just didn't put it, I knew that the Smuggler's Copter playmat, whatever, that was a thing.
Yeah.
I just didn't put it together.
Yeah.
And I certainly wasn't prepared for just suddenly the playmat's on the screen.
Hissing Quagmire is where Luke Strasler started. For
Week
Joe.
1 is so great.
It's really good. It's really good. A swamp and a renegade. Renegade map?
Yeah, Renegade map.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not Renegade's map.
Renegade.
Renegade map.
Renegade map. For Luke. I'm glad you're just enjoying it.
Oh.
I'm glad you're getting every moment of it.
That made the weekend. I mean, I love week 1, and the games have been pretty cool, and Standard looks like it's going to be very different.
Yes.
It's an exciting time, but I worry the weekend has already peaked.
Not at round 3. Not at round 3. Got a long way to go. I promise. Traverse there for Luke. Joe will take his turn. He has his Sanctum of Ugin. And now he has a Prophetic Prism, which means he'll be drawing a card. We'll be heading back over to Luke Strasler here in just a moment as he searches for a swamp with that Traverse the Uvenwald.
I seriously had tears in my eyes. I just couldn't.
We're putting those rumors to bed.
Yeah.
Just those rumors to bed.
Images with no words that sort of display the absurdity of life. That's just in my humor wheelhouse, you know?
Yes.
And there it is.
That ought to just take care of that whole narrative all at once. Just a lot of banned pieces of rubber.
Right.
That's what that is. We'll go over to Strasler. He's got his waste. He's got a swamp. He's got a hissing quagmire. All the colors of the rainbow have nothing to do with it just yet as we head over to Lossett.
We didn't have enough time to make the Gataxian Pro playmats?
No, next season. Next season.
Next season.
Those will be coming down the pipeline. That and Survival of the Fittest.
Yep.
Here's a Cultivator's Caravan. Joe will pass the turn back. For Strasler, he's got an appetite for the unnatural.
Appetite is, I don't mind having some shatters in your deck, and it's better than other cards Strasler's bringing to the table. It's a little dodgy to have it against a deck with a bunch of cheap cantrip artifacts and then Metalwork Colossus, but getting the Cultivator's Caravan is about as good as it's going to get. And I think Strasler has the Thought-Knot Seer to back it up with
Well,
here,
that's
too.
actually pretty good, too.
This is a really sweet draw so far.
Trigger, take a look at the grip. Well, there's a Metallic Rebuke there, which actually was, I think, Joe's plan, was to counter his next thing, use the Caravan for a blue, and then tap the other two artifacts,
Right.
which that card's going to be so frustrating to play against, I think.
Well, at least the deck building cost is really high. If it
It
turns
is.
out that this is sort of a fringe strategy, then it's kind of whatever, you know? And it's also possible given, I'm not a defender of Mana Leak by any stretch, but if the format is very combo-oriented, might not be the worst time to have it.
I agree.
Spellcaller 2, I'm willing to give it a pass for the time being.
Okay. There goes Gonti's Heart. After what it did last game, I
Yep.
think that makes a little bit of sense.
It's not like Lossett needed to take the extra turn for his draw to have been enough to win the game.
Yes.
But sure, if the game's going to go on for a long time, that's eventually going to do something very good.
Another Renegade map. And Lossett will just pass the turn back over to Strasler. Strasler will draw a card. He's got a 4/4 on the battlefield. And he will attack with it. In comes Thought-Knot Seer. Lossett's going to fall down to 16. Three mana. Tireless Tracker. I have a feeling. Well, no guarantee we'll see the Rebuke here.
I don't know. If the game's going to go on for a long time, again, Tireless Tracker is one of the more powerful things going on. And I think we might be setting up for a longer one. Neither of these players have all the stuff in the world going on right now, so.
Attack Rebuke's going to take care of the Tracker. Just a card that had better be on your radar. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be here for a little while. Let's go back over to Joe Lossett now and see how he taps all those permanents. And he's about to draw a card. Maybe he'll sack a Renegade map on his upkeep. We'll see.
If he's planning on Fatal Pushing anyway, you might as well thin the land out of the deck.
Very true. And I think, as we see a Puzzle Knot here, he'll draw. Puzzle Knot a great addition for these decks.
Yeah, I think that this card might, in a very subtle way, be so good for this deck on so many different fronts. It's a cheap artifact. The deck wants to draw cards because you're trying to piece all these things together. It is an outlet for triggering Revolt.
So much, we think about the Puzzle Knots Woodweavers.
Yes.
The one that provides energy and gains life in the last standard season for the Marvel decks. This one kind of flew under the radar a little bit.
I mean, if you're doing, things with either energy or with Revolt or just caring about artifacts, I think only the red Puzzle Knot is below the bar. I think they're all at least considerable cards in the right set of circumstances. And even the red Puzzle Knot, if the format got to a certain place with one toughest creatures as a sideboard card, like I don't
totally
know,
fine.
Could totally show up.
Grapple with the past here for Luke. He is going to get back his Tireless Tracker. Now he will play his Tireless Tracker.
What's the cycle in the new set of the artifacts that when they go to your graveyard from play, you draw a card?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But I think all of those are legit viable cards.
Okay.
Because you don't have to add a whole lot to draw a card, the implements. You don't have to add a whole lot to draw a card when this goes to the battlefield from play on something that can sacrifice itself. And a lot of them are playable on raid alone.
Right, those guys. Okay.
Like, this is not a bad impersonation of divination.
Oh,
and if
worse.
you're doing anything with artifacts
Then you're
or
happy.
revolt triggers or whatever,
Yep.
and they're all not embarrassing on raid, I think.
And now there's Fatal Push. And that means Lossette's going to get to draw a card. It's a pretty good turn for Joe. Picked up a couple of lands. Now, as usual, it's about finding Metalwork Colossus. Now, last game he was able to do it with Inventor's Fair. The question you have to ask yourself about this deck is, are there enough ways to actually be able to find Metalwork Colossus and actually do your thing?
I mean, Inventor's Fair plus Sankin of Ugin is a lot of redundancy on that.
Yes.
And we sort of just don't even look at the lands. But one Lossett finds one or just an Inventor's Fair into one, then he has them all.
Yep. Three mana here from Joe. Yeah, let's make it 4, maybe? So time for Tezzeret, perhaps? No, Metal. Oh, boy. It's going to cost Joe 4, and he's going to sacrifice a Sanctum of Ugin. I think he's going to search himself up a second one. Yep. And he'll sacrifice the other Sanctum of Ugin to get himself another Metalwork Colossus. So I think about, okay, how would Delirium decks deal with this in the past? Play an Emrakul. Yep, take your turn, eat your Metalwork Colossus, go ahead, I'll be fine.
Oh, I think that both, I mentioned this a few times, both Reflector Mage and Emrakul are so punishing on just random expensive creatures.
Yep.
A lot of these get so much better in this world. You know, Metalwork Colossus has a payoff when Reflector Mage is prevalent in the format is really dubious.
Yeah, it's very true.
Trying to spend 5 turns setting up this pretty interwoven battlefield only to get Emrakul is nonsense. A lot of these cards and decks might be a lot better in the new world.
Looks like we have a To the Slaughter. Okay. That'll take care of the Metalwork Colossus. And beat downs with a tracker. Gonna sacrifice the clue before damage. So that means the tracker will get a counter. It looks like it'll be an attack here for 4. So the difficult thing here right now for Lossett is, you know, he is being attacked a little bit. His life total is down to 7, and these Metalwork Colossi, excuse me, they are not that cheap.
He's got 7 on the table.
Yeah, so they're just gonna cost 4, but it's not like last game where we just saw him go
Duh.
dump. Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have that much. And that appetite for destruction on the, or appetite for the unnatural,
Correct.
for the unnatural rather on the Cultivator's Caravan, huge here, shutting down mana on both ends.
And that's basically chopping out 4 mana,
Right.
from what he's trying to do. So that's very real. Now I'll pass the turn back. Now the draw for Joe last turn is actually, I think, a pretty good one. He drew a copy of Metallic Rebuke. He's got the basic island up, and then he's got plenty of artifacts to improvise with. So he might be able to defend this second Metalwork Colossus that he's played.
Yeah, and Lossett's kind of in the spot now where, you know, he can cover all the expensive plays that Strasler can make with the Metallic Rebuke. Anything cheap probably doesn't matter, and so the picking up Mana Leak here is huge.
Strasler going to do some math here. The problem here, it's what you mentioned. The small stuff that's in Strasler's hand, he's got a Grim Flare, he's got a Grasp of Darkness, which is complete nonsense. And then he has a Liliana, which is also pretty bad.
Slow.
Yeah, those just don't do very much right now. There might be the opportunity for Luke to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to play Liliana, I'm going to minus it.
Try to get back the Thought-Knot Seer.
Yeah, take your Metalwork Colossus out of your hand, like a little bit of that stuff.
But the Rebuke has that covered.
Yes.
And that's the issue here of the squeeze that Strasler's now in. Cheap stuff doesn't matter, and the expensive stuff gets covered.
Oh, beatdowns, huh?
Is he trying to just use Tireless Tracker plus Liliana minus plus Grasp?
Plus Grasp, yeah. Then he's going to get blown up in a bad way.
This is also just a tough way to do it under the best of circumstances.
Yeah. Going to sacrifice a clue. Yeah, so this is the plan. Sacrifice a clue, make it into a 5-power creature. Try to grasp it down. He's going to get annihilated by Rebuke if Joe wants him to. Yeah, see, he's pointing out exactly what's happening here. But yeah, Metallic Rebuke was a great draw here for Joe. Because now he can improvise with 2. He can play the single blue. That'll take care of that, which means Tracker's going to go to the graveyard as well. And now Metalwork Colossus is going to run rampant on this game.
Tough turn.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
that was
it was.
That was a tough turn.
Hub the draw, Sanctum the play here for Joe. See where the 10 damage is going to go. Yeah, I'm going to take care of Liliana for now.
Can't lose if the game goes long, so you might as well take away any resource Strasler has to play a longer game.
Another Colossus for 4 mana, trigger the Sanctum. Get another Metalwork Colossus. This card's the real deal.
Looks good.
It just got, there was so much conversation about Saheeli Rai and Felidar Guardian. Might be worth mentioning that this Metalwork Colossus deck that people tried previously and failed with, looks like it got some pieces to get a little bit better.
Right, and it's sort of hard to notice on first blush because the Saheeli Rai Guardian thing, it's very loud and it's potentially very powerful. With what's going on with Lossett's deck here, it's a lot of small pieces of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also because I think some of the cards that got banned were particularly tough on this deck. You can even throw Smuggler's Copter in there as a threat that Metalwork Colossus can't check, and also just a lot of pressure and variance reduction. So all 3 of the bannings were cards that were problematic for this Colossus deck. So it's picked up tools, and a lot of the most powerful cards in the format that were oppressing this deck no longer exist.
Thought-Knot Seer is going to take care of the Metalwork Colossus. That's all well and good. 2 down, 2 to go, basically. Can you run out the clock on the 10-10s? Joe will draw. Prophetic Prism. He'll start there. Draw a card. I think he may have picked up a Hedron Archive.
4 in the deck.
Yeah.
Don't get killed on the way back.
That would be embarrassing.
It's a bad look.
Yeah. There's a Thought-Knot Seer and a Hissing Quagmire out there, so yeah, got to be a little careful. Or does he? In for 20. Strasler's down to 2. There's a hub. Gonna take a look here at the Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot. What does the set have now? Hedron Archive.
I mean, a Reality Smasher here might be good.
4, 5, 6. I'm just trying to think if he can sacrifice an artifact and be able to get back. Sacrifice 2 artifacts, get back his Colossus in the graveyard, and be able to recast one. Let's take a look at Metalwork Colossus really quick.
Yeah, well, the Hedron Archive's worth 6.
Yeah.
And the Prophetic Prisms are 2 apiece. I mean, yeah, he's got 11. He's got it easy.
So he sacrifices these 2. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so he's 12 artifact mana. Yeah,
easy is a stretch, but
he's there.
He's got it.
Yeah, he's there. All right. Not that tough. Strasler's going to sacrifice an Evolving Wilds, get himself a basic 4, so on the battlefield tapped. He'll shuffle, present, and we'll see if he's going to get to maybe steal this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Lossette's spot, this attack is not no risk, but Strasler is down to 1 card in hand plus a draw step. I mean, whatever it is, it has to be basically perfect.
Yeah.
But hypothetically, a Ruinous Path and a Reality Smasher could do it. There are 2 cards in the format that get it done. A jump and a giant growth. All right, that isn't it.
Hissing Quagmire, not the best place to start. Grimflayer, not a great follow-up. So what's going to happen now is Lossett's going to get to untap. He'll draw. He gets to attack with all of these. I mean, they all have to be blocked, obviously. And if he does have a removal spell, he wins the game. But he's going to attack for 30. 3-0. Fire up the Quagmire. Block them all. Lossett will get to draw a card because Thought-Knot Seer dies. Follow-up? Maybe another archive? He picked up a copy of Metallic Rebuke, too.
Nice insurance policy.
Yeah, it really is. I think he can sacrifice 2 Prisms and Colossus again. Surprisingly easy.
Yeah, and he can do it. He can now cast it for 1 plus the Hedron Archive. Or doesn't even need, sorry. So
Yeah,
he can
4,
still
8, 9, 10. Yeah, and leave Rebuke up.
Sure.
Yeah. There's something here.
Yep.
There's something here. That's for sure. Natural State, a little late to the party, unfortunately, here for Luke Strasler. It will take care of the breakfast, and that is going to do it. Joe Lossett's going to win this match here over Luke Strasler. 2-0. Blue-Black Colossus looking pretty nice here for Joe Lossett, taking down Black-Green Delirium. And you said it, with the bannings and some new additions, the combination